With me is Gladys Martinez, Howard Graney, Pete Tallman, Mike Sullivan, Terrence Murphy. In the chambers is John Dijek, Aaron Vega. I'm the chairman. And of course, Mrs. Graney is with us as well, always with us. So we'll just get right to it. If I could take one off the table, please. that'd be
Motion to
great.
take item one off the table?
Motion made and seconded to remove agenda item one off the table. On discussion, hearing none on the motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Previous meeting minutes, they look great to me. So I don't think we can have any issue whatsoever with the meeting minutes. They look really great. It was a pretty quick
Good job.
meeting last month, and thank everybody for participating. But does anybody have any comments or questions or concerns? Hearing none, a motion to approve is in order.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Motion made and seconded to approve. On discussion, hearing none on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
If I could take a motion, get a motion to take number 2 off the table.
Motion to
please.
take item 2 off the table
Motion
for
made and
discussion?
seconded to remove agenda item number 2 off the table. On discussion, hearing none on the motion, all in favor? Aye. The agenda item is license agreement between the City of Holyoke and Edward A. Owen. And Mr. Owen, proceed to the microphone, sir. You've already tested it. We've made sure of that. So this is government efficiency at its best. Okay.
Good evening.
Mr. Owen, what do you got?
On the license agreement, the legal department did some work on the wording of it. And if you got it in front of you on the F on first page, and
I do have it in front of me.
okay, and then on the A on the second page, determine time for
Oh, okay, well,
performance.
maybe I should go to the second page then, because I only have the,
It's at the top of the second page on A.
all right, so. All right,
Anyway.
all right, well, let's do it one at a time. Okay, so, first of all, I have a license agreement, this blank day of September 21, between the city and Edward A. Owen, which is you.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm looking at page 1, Mr. Owen. Are you looking
Okay.
at page 1?
I am. I'm looking at page 1 on both the original and the new update.
Well,
one.
let's just do it one at a time. Okay, so 1, scope of license. Which letter are you looking at?
F.
Okay, that's what I have, letter F. Okay, this says, in the event of a public safety emergency, the licensor, which is, the city, may rescind this license effective immediately and without prior notice, in which case the licensee, which is Mr. Owen, must remove all the improvements. Okay, what's up?
If you read further on,
As ordered by the licensor.
you
Period.
want it, there's two different issues here, but okay, we'll deal with the first one. That one there, I'm going to be spending about probably around, well, now it's probably even more, but it was around $10,000 to put up a handicap ramp to make accessibility to my building for handicapped people and elderly. So that's fine. I was going to spend the 10 grand. In here, there's a clause about insurance. I was going to spend $140 extra a year, to ensure that the City of Holyoke is mentioned in the liability policy. That's further on in the document, though. Anyway, then first of all, nobody will tell me what an emergency is or what it would consist of. And I mean,
So, Mr. Owen, let me tell you what, why don't you define emergency for us?
I don't know what the
Well,
definition
there
would
you
be.
go. That's like reasonable.
Okay, so
Define that for me.
okay, then let's move on from that because
Well,
I'm
I
not
don't
going to
wa-
get
I don't-
anywhere on that.
I don't want to move on. I want to make you happy with this, or
That's
if you can't accept this the way it is, then give me something to suggest how we change it.
okay. I don't know what would define emergency, just like you don't know. Okay, but if an emergency did come up and my handicap ramp had to be removed, I would remove it on my own. I would not have to be ordered to remove it. I have done everything that I possibly can with this building to make the City of Holyoke happy, make my tenants happy, and to make myself happy. Anything that ever had to be done at my building was done. I have
Let me-
letters of commendation from Chief Scott
Okay,
because
wow,
I
okay.
take care of my building.
I understand that, and Chief Scott's a gentleman. Okay,
And-
so let's, how about this? How about we humbly suggest this?
Okay.
That should the City of Holyoke declare an emergency to remain undefined, because we can't possibly define emergency.
Okay.
We just can't, unless you want to point out to something in Merriam-Webster. Okay, so maybe we can point out to Merriam-Webster the eighth edition, whatever. But if the City of Holyoke declares an emergency, the City of Holyoke shall advise Mr. Owen. You want me to keep going?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
shall advise Mr. Owen of the emergency, and Mr. Owen, in consultation with the city, will determine the method and the time by which the ramps will be removed. So this keeps you in the loop. So Mr. Owen or his successors or assigns will be consulted, and there will be part of the conversation. So we could have that kind of be some kind of language in there.
So it wouldn't be up to one individual. It'd
In
be
other
up-
words, it's not coming from God, and it's not coming from the City of Holyoke, okay? It's going to be in consultation with Mr. Owen, and there's going to be a reasonable standard.
Okay,
Does that sound fair?
I can live with that. Now, let's,
Okay,
can we,
all right, now, just time out for sports, Mr. Owen, because
Okay.
we have to sort of do this in an orderly fashion.
okay,
I'm going to make a motion that we recommend to the law department. I don't see anybody from the law department here, and this is,
Mike Bissonette's on, I don't
okay?
know if it's on the screen, but he's.
Okay, so I'm gonna recommend to the law, we don't need to hear from the law department right this second. We're gonna recommend the aforesaid language to put before us and we're gonna send, it so we don't have to delay this to next year, because this is now in the ridiculous stage. That there'll be a bilateral agreement. If so, City of Holyoke is to declare an emergency. Should the City of Holyoke declare an emergency, there'll be a bilateral agreement. That means the two parties, right, will determine how and when the handicap materials will be removed. They'll be removed within a reasonable period of time. Does that satisfy you?
except for I just had a thought. What if it's a snow emergency? What if somehow somebody says that my ramp is in the way of a snow emergency, which it wouldn't be because it wouldn't affect the road?
Well, there you go. That's like saying the City of Holyoke should implement no parking zones on the moon. I guess we could do that.
Can we do that?
I guess we could.
Okay.
But you know what? There isn't a whole like a lot of possibility of having a no parking issue on the moon.
Okay.
So why don't we just stick with the real world?
Okay.
And if you're okay with that, I'm going to make that motion that we recommend language to that effect be prepared and we'll get a communication from the law department, and we'll all have a chance to look at it. Hopefully a lot of what's today? Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So we've got to get our agenda items in by this Friday at 12,
Okay.
unless there's a late file. See how there's always an exception? I can't stand it. But let's hope that 2 sentences can be inserted there, that there'll be a bilateral agreement between the licensor and the licensee to understand when an emergency exists, and that the parties will agree as to the time, place, and method by which the handicap materials will be removed. Said handicap materials will be removed in a reasonable amount of time. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Would the city consider helping with the cost of removal?
There's going to be a reasonable standard, okay? There's a reasonable man standard, okay? So why don't, I don't want to go there because you're on city property as it is. That's why we're dealing with this, okay? So, okay, that's my, Mr.
Actually,
Owen?
it wasn't city property until they took it by eminent domain.
Well, I agree that's a lousy way to do business, but yet that's the way it is.
All right, but-
Okay. No, okay, so, Mr. Owen?
Okay.
Okay, so that's my motion.
Second.
Thank you, hallelujah. Okay, so motion made and seconded. Under discussion. Hearing none. On the motion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that one passes.
Okay. Can we
Second,
address
okay.
the 90-day issue?
Okay,
In the same-
where
in the
are you,
same
where are
par-
you with the next one, Mr.
The
Owen?
same paragraph, 90-day issue. Or I mean the same F. If you read further on,
I don't see anything about 90 days on
you
here.
want me to read it?
Well, why don't you tell me where it is?
It's on F.
One
on
F?
First page, on page 1.
Well, I'm at 1F, Mr. Owen, I don't say anything about 90 days, so you have
Okay,
to
it
tell me.
says, otherwise the licensor may rescind the license for other reasons, in which case the licensor shall give the licensee 90 days written notice, and upon the licensee's receipt of written notice, the licensee shall remove any improvement that the licensor wishes to be removed.
Mr. Owen, so on your license agreement draft, there should be a number and a letter. Where are you reading?
On page 1, the same page that the other issue we just talked about was on.
It's under 1F?
It's 1F, yes.
Well, it's not in
Scope
mine.
of license.
Okay, that offending language
Scope?
has been removed, as far as I can tell. So that one's done.
Does he get the old one? Yeah.
Okay, so that language is gone. All right. Next?
Thank you, I apologize.
You don't
I
have to-
apologize for that.
No, and we enjoy having you here. What's the next one?
Okay, that was, them were the two issues.
Oh.
I didn't mind getting the insurance. I already talked to my insurance agent. That's gonna be taken care of.
General line.
So the two issues were the 90 days removal and the emergency removal.
There you go.
So, am I gonna get a license? Is that what I'm gonna go for? Because I was actually hoping I'd get a permanent easement, but,
Well, at this point, that's not before us. So
Right.
So here's what's gonna happen.
okay,
We're going to recommend adoption of this as amended
okay,
to the city council.
all right,
We're also going to get a communication sent to us from the law department, submitted to the clerk by Friday noon, so it will be posted to a public agenda.
okay,
So that language, we will review next Tuesday night at 7 PM in city council.
okay,
I'm gonna make, assuming it reads right, and Pete and Gladys and everybody else will look it over, make sure it reads right. We will insert it as appropriate under 1F, the revised 1F, the updated 1F, which you now possess.
okay,
So that will go into new license, and then we'll make a motion to approve the license as amended.
okay,
Once we do that, boom. Now, as you know, licenses are only valid for a year. So assuming you pay your taxes, et cetera, it'll just come and be rubber stamped for the rest of the time,
okay,
barring some
crazy,
emergency, whatever emergency is, which we can't define.
right,
Okay?
okay, so.
Okay, so, are we good?
Yeah, but let me just ask one quick question. How do I go about trying to get a permanent easement?
Well, let's get the license in place first.
Okay,
Then you're gonna talk to the OPED, you talk to Mr. Vega, Mr. Dijek.
okay,
They will then hear you out. They will then run it by the law department,
okay,
and they'll run it by the mayor.
Okay.
At some point, they'll have to come back to city council and file a communication to that effect, to make it a permanent easement.
okay.
I don't know how interested the city would be in a permanent easement for public land.
I think they'd be interested if they know it's for me.
I'm sure they would.
Excuse me.
Thank you. Are
Sorry,
we good?
Sorry.
Mr. Owen?
I'm sorry?
We're good.
I'm good.
We're good. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to refer this back to city council, to make, so we made a motion
We got somebody on here, I think.
for
Jeff
this
Burke.
matter?
It looks like allowed to talk. Jeff Burkott?
Allow them,
What
I don't
is-
know how
what
to
I'm
do
doing.
that. Yeah. Oh, whatever you gotta do.
There we go.
Mr.
Okay.
Burkott?
I don't know if he's willing to talk, if it just says allowed to talk, if that came up. He's there anyway, so I think maybe.
You know, it's not up to us to run a Zoom meeting and to deal with this, I'm sorry. That's way beyond our pay grade. So
Yeah,
if somebody doesn't wanna come down here to a meeting when they're in the building next door, I'm just,
He's on mute, he's on mute.
okay.
Can he unmute himself? Yeah.
He can unmute himself, and anybody else
If
can
he wants to
unmute
talk.
themselves. Okay, all right, well, that's it, time's up. So, now, we made a motion to recommend that language. I'm gonna make a motion to refer that to legal, the aforesaid language, because I wanna make this official, because I don't wanna hear it. So, my motion is to send the language we just agreed upon to legal.
Is it to send to,
Yeah, it's my motion to refer that to legal and then ask legal to send a communication to us by Friday, to the clerk by Friday at noon.
Second.
Thank you. Under discussion. Hearing none. So the motion is to refer that language that we just suggested to legal, to put into legal form, and to send it as a communication to the city council through the clerk by Friday at noon time, so it's posted to the agenda. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The final motion is to refer this back to city council.
Second?
On the motion, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you, Mr. Owen, you have a good night.
Just Tuesday, I come to the meeting and this will be all set.
Well, if you like to, you can come to the meeting, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Owen. Okay, so, next on the hit parade. Thank you. If I could get a motion to take number 3, suspend and take 3 and 3A off the table.
Motion to suspend the rules, 3 and 3A.
Need a second to remove agenda items 3 and 3A from the table. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's see. Ordered that the city council's committee work with the planning department and the mayor's office to redraw ward lines according to the new federal census, and then a communication from OPED in regards to the census data. So, I don't have, I guess there's really not much else we can do. I was hopeful to see if it would be possible to move, and I talked to the planning department and et cetera beforehand to see if we can, I didn't think Kmart Plaza was in the middle of a block, but I guess it is, and so I was gonna move that from Ward 5 to Ward 3, and then move all of Gordon Drive into Ward 5, but that sounds like that's gonna be a monumental task. It's probably impossible to effectuate. So, that being said, I'm of the opinion that we can just accept it as is, but that's me. But we've got Aaron and John here. Did you want to add anything to this discussion?
No, I think we shared all the information that we can, and I think that the issue is, yeah, splitting census tracts is next to impossible.
Yeah, it really is. Do any other councilors have questions about, Council Tallman?
I just had a question, quick question. I did get the map and I sort of reviewed it trying to find out, I know in certain blocks you have certain numbers of people or voters.
Yep, people.
How, was there any big changes as far as
There
ward lines?
was no changes to the ward lines at all. There was 2 precinct line changes. That was it.
Okay, so 2 precincts, so in other words, people will be moved in the same ward, but they'll move from one precinct to a different precinct.
Yep, exactly.
A-
Yep.
Approximately how many people did it affect? Do you know?
How many people did it affect?
Like under 100 or under
Oh, yeah,
50?
yeah, definitely under 100, yeah, for sure. And, the population in the city, at least by the count, went down almost 1,800 people. And that's why, that impacts at least 2 immediate things. One, and hopefully it won't impact much of our funding, but it affects immediately the representative district now going into next year, will include a piece of Chicopee. And the other thing that it kind of affects is that actually lowered our liquor license quota a little bit. We're already over quota, but that'll be okay. So
Because of the population count. And we probably know that it probably wasn't an accurate count because a lot of people, especially with COVID and during people getting out there.
the lack of outreach that happened, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, because it was when we first got the number, we sort of made some assumptions, and then when we looked at the data, and it's always good to have the data, it was across the whole city. Every ward just about showed a loss of population, which we know is just not true. So,
Right.
But again, anecdotally, we know that.
And these people will get notified with the new precinct. And when will that take effect? The next
The next election.
election? So if they have one
Yep.
next year?
Yep.
Okay. Councilor Graney?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what Counselor Tallman said about notification, as soon as possible. I mean, barrage them with notification, Aaron, so that they are updated long before the election,
Well, we should work. I would ask that I'll probably work with the city clerk on that. That would
Yeah,
probably come more
as
from
soon
the
as
clerk and
possible,
voter
because,
registration.
people should know so that they can, once we continue to notify them a little bit, they'll get the message a little bit faster, rather than hold off and wait.
I don't disagree. I mean, perhaps, either during discussion at the full council meeting, when the city clerk will be in the room, or a representative from the clerk. I'm not sure who actually from the clerk's office sits in the meetings these days, but, and/or, I always hate to go this route, but maybe you have to file an order for us to do that. So, I mean, I'm happy to work with the clerk and make sure we can do that, absolutely, so.
Okay.
Absolutely, and probably with the voter registration, once this is finalized, it goes to the state, it's all sealed and delivered, and then we'll know the exact addresses that changed, and we can send notifications.
Yeah, I know. The major method of notification these days is email, but a lot of these people
No,
want
we would
letters.
mail, that would be a certified letter, for sure.
Okay,
Counselor-
Councilor Brown Martinez?
Counselor Murphy.
I know we all got the maps, but just for the record.
Gladys? You gotta talk to the microphone.
I know we all got the maps, but I just wanna, for the record, to share the wards or the precincts that are going to be switched into another ward. Which ones were they? The wards that are gonna go overlapping or going over to the other, you just mentioned that. there's gonna-
Precincts.
Precincts,
So
yeah.
it was Ward 5 had a small change, and Ward 2 had a small change, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Councilor Murphy?
That was the question I was gonna ask, I'm all set.
Look at you. All right, everybody set?
In sync.
Okay, well, I'll.
And then just so, as you know, I mean, I'm pretty sure you already have the document, or Jeffrey does, just to confirm, but then it needs to be signed by the council at the next, it needs to be approved at the vote, and then there's a signature document that needs to be sent
Oh,
in.
man, wow, that's pressure.
I know.
That's pressure. Okay, well, why don't we we'll take a motion to recommend adoption of the updated ward lines to the city council.
Make a motion, adopt the new ward lines to the full city council.
Second,
Motion made and seconded, on discussion. Hearing none on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. I do see Attorney Johnson in the back. Why don't we suspend the rules and go to agenda item 11, please?
Motion to suspend the rules and take up item number 11.
Motion made and seconded to suspend our rules and take up agenda item 11. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 11, from the Johnson Law Firm regarding notice of intent to sell Lot 1 and Lot 2 on Mountain Road in Holyoke pursuant to M.G.L. Chapter 61A, Section 14, a portion of 50 Mountain Road. And I have received all sorts of things regarding 11 Mountain Road. And just so I can tee it up for Attorney Johnson,
50 Mountain Road.
50 Mountain Road is item 11. Just so I can tee it up for Attorney Johnson, I believe I have before me two purchase and sale I have a letter. I have two purchase and sale contracts from the same seller to the same buyers for the same price. So the public might be asking, why in the world is this Holyoke City Council taking up a private contractual matter? Well, the reason is because there's a caveat within this pursuant to Chapter 61A, where the City of Holyoke has a right of first refusal to purchase the lots for the agreed-upon contractual price. And I just want to, and I'm going to let Attorney Johnson speak, and he can correct me on anything I say. This has been reviewed by the Assessor's Office, and the Assessor's Office is going to send a communication to City Council for the next meeting. And ultimately, what we're going to do is table this tonight, I believe. The acting assessor is going to send a communication relative to what the outstanding taxes are. The mayor himself has been apprised, and the mayor is of the opinion now that the matter should be further discussed and reviewed. But I want to talk to Attorney Johnson about the 120-day timeline so that we all know our dates. So the mayor wants to review this. He got a communication from the Conservation Commission relative to these two lots. They did not go into any further details as to what needs to be reviewed. The mayor also indicated that he wants to have a public engagement on this, though we're under no legal duty to have a public discussion. So I don't know what forum if the mayor wants to have a meeting at Mountain Road with the neighbors. If the mayor wants to call a special meeting here, that's all good. I'm under no inclination to have any kind of a, although we've always had, if somebody wants to come in here, we've always suspended our rules to allow the public to address, which we're gonna do that in a second for Attorney Johnson. So we've always, but I am under no duty, and I'm not gonna do it, but you are all free to do so, to have and host any meetings you want on any topics, including this, anywhere at any time. That being said, I'll accept a motion to suspend and to allow Attorney Johnson to address us on this specific matter.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to allow Attorney Johnson to address us. Under discussion?
No, just an issue. I'm being texted that they cannot be here, they cannot hear us, so I don't know for what reason, but
Who are they?
people who are trying to listen, who are, on the Zoom.
Well, that's a bummer, but I can't control it, Gladys.
Who's managing? I mean, I'm just trying to find out
Jeffrey's
who's.
in it.
Is it Jeffrey?
Yeah, Jeff is now in the back room,
Okay.
so, so whoever they are, you can
Yes.
tell them to contact Jeffrey and then figure out how to make the Zoom work.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none. On the motion to suspend, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Attorney Johnson, welcome. So we have with us Attorney Christopher Johnson, former mayor of Agawam. Welcome, Mayor. Why don't you tell us what's happening from your perspective?
Thank you, and thank you for suspending the rules to take the item earlier in your meeting. I represent the owners of the two lots on Mountain Road. It's part of a almost 35-acre parcel. The parcel has been under Chapter 61A protection for a number of years. In the notice I sent to the city, I included a copy of the original recording of the notice. Under Chapter 61A, and specifically under Section 14 of Chapter 61A, whenever a piece of property under protection of the statute is either being converted to another use or being sold and proposed to be converted to another use, the city has a right of first refusal to match the proposed sale. In this particular case, 61A is agricultural use. These two lots, which are 2-acre lots, each in size, are being proposed to be sold. They're going to be converted from agricultural use to residential use. There are two separate purchasers. The plans for both purchasers are to build single-family homes on the lots. The balance of the parcel, which is approximately 31 acres, between 30 and 31 acres, will remain under Chapter 61A protection. My clients, I believe, and this was their original plan, but I don't know with building prices whether they're going to continue with the original plan. They hope to build on the site and continue to use it for agricultural purposes. They got the property from Adam's father, and if you look at the map that we sent, and I have a copy of it if you wanted to see it, I can bring it out here. The father lives on the house that's next to the two lots that are being cut off. So like I said, their purpose is to sell the lots, hopefully to gain enough money so that they can build a house themselves. But at this point, we're asking the city whether you want to exercise your first refusal option, which under the statute would require you as the city council to hold a public hearing. If you don't decide to exercise the first refusal option, then a simple vote of the city council with concurrence of the mayor would be what's required to decline the first refusal option. By statute, my client's required to pay either the conveyance or the rollback taxes at the choice of the assessor's office. So that's not something that you have to condition the motion on. That's by statute anyways. And, you know, obviously we're asking that you act sooner rather than later because we have two parties that want to get these closings done so that they can, you know, begin the process of planning to hopefully be in the ground. I know they wanted to try to get in the ground before it froze, but I think that's almost a fait accompli at this point. But they want to move forward and build homes on each of the lots.
Okay, when did the clock start ticking, Attorney Johnson?
The clock started ticking when we delivered the letter to the city, which was on November 9th.
Okay, November 9th. Okay, and so 120 days therefrom, that's the December, January,
March.
February, March.
9th.
Wow, right in time for the parade. March, but won't actually be March 9th, but be proximate to March 9th, I guess. So depending upon how that calculation goes. Okay, and thank you for clarifying. It's absolutely two different owners, and so, right now, what are the lots zoned? Did you say agricultural?
Well, they're under Chapter 61A protection, so they're in agricultural use. In order to be under 61A protection, they needed to be in agricultural use. Like I said, I can look here for you and tell you when.
It doesn't matter.
When they went under,
That's not
but-
really before. I was just gonna say, if it may require a zone change, if it's not zoned appropriately for building what they wanna build.
Right.
I believe that it is zoned, that in that particular zoning, you can build a single-family house.
Okay,
So, zone residence A.
so it's zoned RA, so, okay, that answers that question. Although there might be other uses which you could construct in there under that zone, but I don't know the zoning regs by heart, but there's that. So I said what I said, so we have until, at some point next year, but as I said to one of my colleagues beforehand, how would you like it if you were a seller or a buyer and you're waiting till the clock runs out? I'm not sure if you'd like it very much. So, but I did communicate with the mayor, and, ultimately, it's, well, let me ask Attorney Johnson, is it just a vote of the city council, or what, who would exercise the right of first refusal?
I can speak as to the way it works in most cities and towns. I'm not intimately familiar with your charter, but in most cities and towns, the power to deal with real estate vests in the city council. Hence, the prior speaker that was here, you're talking about a license agreement. It wouldn't be before the city council if the mayor had the power to do that on their own. So I know I'm the president of the city council in my community. We deal with all real estate issues.
So that's fair enough. So we'll take a motion to suspend the rules and allow Attorney Degnan to address us on this matter.
I'll second
Motion
that.
made and second to suspend. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Attorney Degnan.
Yes, good evening. I'm sorry, councilors, for my tardiness. With respect to the power to make the decision, the Attorney Johnson has done the correct thing. Under the statute, the mayor and the city council have to get this notice. In terms of power, the statute says that if we're going to exercise the notice, it's signed by the mayor. And if it's not going to be exercised, the non-exercising, that action is also signed by the mayor, and it's recorded on the Registry of Deeds. Now, I know that our ordinances say that the city council, it should go before you. And even the statute says that the city council has to have notice. So I think that you do have the power to vote on it, but the mayor is going to be the actual person signing the documents. So I think there's going to be, there would be some agreement between the city council and the mayor.
So Attorney Degnan, is it a majority vote of the city council? Or is there any kind of two-thirds stuff?
Under the statute, it does not indicate.
Okay, so
The law
simple,
doesn't say it has to be a two-thirds vote.
simple majority.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, yeah, and that rings true, although the way it works here, and I think it would work anywhere, is that we would pass wherever we're gonna pass when we pass it, and then the mayor's either gonna sign it or not sign it, or send it back to us with a veto. So so my Attorney Degnan, so say hypothetically, we take this up, we pass in city council, and we send it to the mayor, and the mayor vetoes it, then to override, then to override a mayoral veto, I believe, takes a two-thirds vote. So does that per our, but, go ahead, sorry.
I'm having trouble hearing you,
Well,
Counselor.
I can repeat
If there's
that. Can you, let me know if I'm coming in clearer.
Okay, I heard you now. Yes.
Okay.
It's interesting. The statute doesn't indicate. So I think that our local rules would govern. All the statute says is that this body and the mayor and other parties, the Conservation Commission, Attorney Johnson has done this correctly from what I can see. So I mean, I think our local rules would apply because the statute only says that you have to receive it, okay? In terms of, and the mayor has to sign it. But I know that we have ordinances, we have a charter, and I think that, yeah, that the veto, I think it's difficult. I think it's difficult because the mayor has to sign it. So even if the council says, well, we're going to veto you, I mean, or we're going to override your veto, the mayor still wouldn't sign it. And you have a problem with the statute there. So I don't think a mayoral veto will work there.
Oh,
Or override, an override, I'm sorry.
you don't think an override, well, I'm going to let you think about that for a bit, because to say that a city council override would not effectuate this matter, I'm going to respectfully disagree. So if our ordinance say that 2/3, or our rules, whatever it is, say that if upon a mayoral veto, or if the charter, whatever it is, who cares, that, probably the charter, right? If the mayor vetoes it, sends it back, and the city council overrides it, then that's it. That's checkmate. So the mayor's signature's not going to be present on a document, but the vote of the city council to override it would control. That's how I would consider it, but
Yeah.
You
May
may.
I just make one comment? The issue with the mayor signing this document is it has to be recorded in the registry of deeds. So, and that goes whether it's, yes, we're going to do it, we're going to exercise, or no, we're not. So that says it in the statute. So I understand what you're saying with respect to our local rules, and I respect those rules and our charter, but I am concerned about the statutory requirement that the mayor signs the document and that it's recorded.
If I
Well-
could just,
Attorney Johnson, yeah?
and I offer this just by way of, as you pointed out earlier, I am the former mayor of Agawam. I'm currently the city council president in Agawam. The process we used in Agawam, and I'm not saying it's better or worse, but I can tell you that we did go through a Superior Court action that went up on appeal dealing with a 61A property in the 90s when I was mayor. And the process that's utilized in Agawam is relatively simple. When a notice comes in, we send it to the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board and ask for their recommendations relative to whether or not they believe the city should exercise their first refusal option. Based upon that, an item of agenda is put on the city council because in Agawam, under the charter, and I think it might be under state law as well, the city council as the legislative body deals with real estate issues involving the community. A resolution is put on our agenda, and at that point, the city council votes yea or nay. And it's in the history of Agawam, it's never been that the mayor disagrees with the council relative to whether to exercise or not. But the input is sought from planning and conservation before, to determine whether or not the parcels are of tremendous significance,
Gotcha.
Because in reality, all the city's deciding is, do we want to allow these sales to happen to the private third parties, or do we want to stand in the place of the private third parties and pay, the sale price? That's all that the city is doing. It's a first refusal option, the option to match the offers that have already been received.
Right, so I think, Tony Degnan, what if we suggested that the following, that we make a motion to refer this to the Planning Department and Conservation and ask them to send a communication to us by our second meeting in December. And that way, all the cards will be on the table, they can take their votes, do what they gotta do, think it out, and then we'll have it before us on the 22nd, and then we can either pull it out of the committee right then and there, or if there's gonna be more discussion, it'll still be tabled in this committee, and we can figure it out.
I agree. You have time. I mean, I know from what Attorney Johnson says, you don't want to wait too long, but I think that is a good idea. It's certainly doable, and you have the time period in the statute to do it. So I think that's a good idea.
Council Tallman.
Yeah, I just wanted to state, I'm glad you brought that. Just remembered Attorney Johnson bringing that up, because we did get a letter just tonight from the Planning Department, a full-page letter stating their concern about this. So I haven't heard from the Conservation Commission, but I did receive a letter about 4 o'clock signed by the Planning Commission, say they're concerned about this property and selling it right now to give the city some time to look at it. I mean, I'm saying we may not have to take 120 days, but if it's property that's in the benefit of the city or the area, I think it's something that we should, hold off on for a bit.
Aaron?
That's actually what I was going to say, Councilor, is that the planning board did send a letter today. I'm trying to get those letters sent a little earlier to you, but since you are tabling it, but yes, the planning board has reviewed it, so that's all.
Okay, so I don't have a letter in my email, so why don't you send it to the clerk for next Tuesday, okay?
Yep, absolutely.
So I think if that makes sense, then we can possibly take a vote now to refer this matter for further discussion and input to the planning and conservation boards and ask them to respond no later than the second city council meeting in this month, which is December 22nd. What's up?
Your mic, I'm just saying that the mics, to try to speak into the mic, I guess they can't hear too well. I don't know. I think the mics are on, right? Yours are on, Brian?
Look, look, they can come down here or not.
No, it's not the public, it's Jeff, it's
I mean,
Jeffrey, so.
okay. All right, so, okay, so is there any other discussion on this matter?
Can I just ask one question?
Council Murphy?
So, if I'm understanding this correctly, and maybe I'm not, but if I am, we have the right of first refusal, and we have 120 days to decide that we are going to pay the same price that's being offered. And if we don't do that, and we don't exercise that right, then I would assume at that point, the property owner has the right to sell that property. Because we have a limit in terms of when we have to exercise our right of first refusal.
Well, why don't we ask that question to legal? Attorney Degnan, you prepared to answer that? If we don't exercise the right, what then?
Yeah, if there's no determination, then the failure to respond is considered to be non-exercised. You're not going to exercise the right of first refusal, and the statute, there's been compliance with the statute. So you're right, Councilor Murphy, that's accurate.
Yeah, at that point, I would prepare an affidavit saying I sent notice on such and such a date, and more than 120 days has elapsed, and the city has not, notified that they intend to exercise.
Exciting. Councilor Graney?
Yeah, just quickly, I think it would be prudent of the city to exercise this business long before the 120 days. That's all. That's my personal opinion. Thank you.
Councilor Sullivan?
And since I won't be around after the first of the year, I'd just like to go on record right now for the city to exercise its option and spend $350,000 and block the development of 2 new houses, tax-paying entities, to add to an inventory in a city that's already 60% open space, when we don't have vehicles to plow snow or to collect trash, seems foolish, and that we should, and I urge that we move forward this as soon as possible.
Yeah, I have one other question for Attorney Degnan. Attorney Degnan, if the city exercises the option and wants to purchase the 2 properties, what happens to the what happens to the past due taxes? Do they have to be remitted? What happens to that amount?
Okay, well, but if there's going to be a sale here, the seller is going to have to pay either a rollback tax or a conveyance tax, provided that they're not continuing with agricultural use, which I think is what's happening here. So I know that the assessor's office has computed a conveyance tax for these particular lots. I don't know if you have that figure in front of you.
I do, because I requested it. Yes, so
Okay.
I do have, it's about $8,900. But I think you answered my question. So regardless of what happens, whether the city buys it or it goes to private buyers, the seller still is obligated to pay whatever it is, whether the rollback tax or the conveyance.
tax.
Is that accurate, Ms. Degnan?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that answers that question. Any further discussion? Okay. I think it's probably in everybody's best interest at this point because we did hear from the mayor, and, you know, we don't want to get off to a rocky start, and we want to respect what the mayor said. So I'm going to make a motion to refer this matter to planning and to conservation, and with the stipulation that they review it and send a communication back to the city council no later than our second meeting, our second regularly scheduled meeting in December, which I believe is the 21st.
That's our next, yeah.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Under discussion on the motion. Hearing none. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
I'll take a motion to table.
Motion to table.
Motion made and seconded, table, none debatable. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None. Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson, appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your courtesy.
Okay, so that we got that one checkmated. Now, gentlemen, welcome back. Okay, so I went through all this stuff. Of course, I did it last week, and if you think I could remember it, but I believe, why don't we, because I know you're going to guide me through, but let's deal with number 4 for Mr. Taub.
Okay.
So let's handle that first, and then I think we've got some other items that we can kind of combine, and then a couple that you want to dispose of. That's my understanding, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll do number 4 unless you guys say that.
Move to take item number 4
Well,
off the table.
I'll second
motion
that.
made and seconded to remove agenda item 4 from the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A 4, that the council vote that the City of Holyoke accept the proposal and sell 86 Beech Street to BEX LLC, Eric Taub manager, for $15,000. 86 Beech Street is a vacant lot, approximately 6,621 square feet in size. And it has its zone DR, which is downtown residential, and has an assessed value of $32,600. Gentlemen, what's happening?
So this is a property, again, that went through an RFP process. Review committee, myself, John, our purchasing coordinator, director, Lori Belanger, and I think Eric Taub is with us today. I know that he has another property on that same block. It's the last block of Beech Street, basically before you go over the bridge. And just went through the normal process. So here we are today with you to approve the sale. And I believe that Mr. Taub is with us.
And I just want to make sure we're right, just so we can orient ourselves. Is it the last block? Motion make it suspend and allow Mr. Taub to address?
Second that.
Motion made a second to suspend the rules, allow Mr. Taub to address on this topic. All in favor? Aye. Mr. Taub, am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. This lot is. You heard Mr. Vega. Just orient me on where the lot is.
I believe it's after Dwight Street, and I'm not sure exactly the street before it. Let me see.
Hamden, before Hamden.
Yeah, before Hamden. So I think we recently went through a special permit for 102 Beech Street, so it's like 2 houses down on the
Got
same
it.
side of the street.
Same side of the street, same block.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
that's great.
idea would be to build a similar duplex right there.
All right, and that's great, Mr. Taub. So how's, just off topic, how's the current duplex coming along?
Good, I think we have a week left, and we're pretty much doing final touches and then calling final inspections now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to just put the acting mayor and this former acting mayor. Terry, is it looking, I mean, you drive all over the place. How's it looking to you?
I actually have not seen it. When I heard that, I was planning on seeing it, but I haven't actually seen it.
Okay, I mean, I've gone by it a couple of times. It looks pretty good to me, the current development. Anybody else want to weigh in?
I've been by, it looks good. It just, as the neighbors stated, I think that night, it is sort of close. Like it does have the distance, but it's real close and tight to the other house. So I think it just made the cut as far as, the variance, was it, or whatever?
Oh, he didn't make the
Property?
cut. He
made it.
didn't make any cut. We allowed him to make the cut.
We allowed them, but I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It was close, but it looks like it did a good job with the building. Yeah.
Well,
This,
just for,
sorry.
Mr. Taub, I'll get to you in a minute. Just for John and Aaron, what's our position from the city's perspective?
It's a duplex. It's, we need more residential housing in that area. It's been an empty lot for a long time. That side of the block, I live on Linden Street on the other side, so that side of the block is pretty good. It's an apartment building. There's other residential that's home-owned, and they take good care of their lot, so anxious to see, I know for a little while on the 102 Beech Street, there's still a lot of construction material out there, but I think they're getting that cleaned up. It's a good place to live. It's a busy street, so we have to find the right people who want to live there. I think that if that side of the street gets stabilized, hopefully we can start looking at the other side of the street, because there's a couple empty lots there and a former burned-out building. So,
Right. Now, is it possible to have off-street parking or no?
no,
Not even possible.
yeah, I don't think there's,
On the beach, no.
no. It's there's enough parking there. There's usually empty spots. So if it would be a two-family.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't think, there is one house that does have off-street there. I don't think that lot's big enough to have off-street parking.
Yeah, unless we wanted to.
Make a thin.
No, I guess we can have parking in the front yard if we go there. I don't know if that's so attractive to the neighborhood though. Probably not so much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, but, well, it is what it is. Mr. Taub, you wanted to address us again?
Well, I just wanted to mention that this lot, we actually don't need to go through a special permit. It meets all the requirements for a duplex, so it's gonna be easier than the other one.
That's good news,
process.
yeah, very good news. Okay, that's an important point.
It's gonna have parking in the back like the other one, 4 parking spots, and, meet all building codes.
Oh, okay, so you kind of go drive in the back alley and then park in the back?
Correct, yes.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
That's good.
oh, there you go. Okay, so it's the same deal with 86?
Yes, so 86 has more space, actually, so it's gonna be
102,
easier.
sorry.
and
I'll too, yeah.
We won't need any special permits, like I was saying, it's.
Okay. Well, 102, you can wheel down the back alley and park behind the house?
Correct, we still have 4 parking spots in the back for 102
Oh,
as well.
great.
Nice.
Okay, so it's okay. So it's kind of an off-street parking there. Yeah, the city fathers, they kind of figured that out, didn't they? Pretty good when they laid that out. Pretty smart cats. Okay, any further questions for OPED or for anyone else? I'll take a motion to recommend approving the conveyance.
Make a motion to accept the proposal for 86 Beech Street for $15,000 to BEX.
Motion made and seconded to recommend approval of the sale of 86 for 15 to BEX LLC. Under discussion. Hearing none on the motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, so that looks like unanimous, so we'll recommend it to the next city council meeting, Mr. Taub, okay? Thanks so much for your investment, okay? All right. All right, gentlemen.
Yep.
How would you like us to proceed on the various orders? So we've got the same ones are kind of surplus and then to convey out.
Yep.
So let's do them one at a time, kind of. Just bundle what we, am I saying it right? So you've got some you wanted, maybe I can spit it out. But so how about 5? Take 5. Let's take up 5 first to declare surplus, and then if that makes sense, we do that. Then we can take up 8. Okay, because that would be to convey it out. No, that's not right. 5 and
5, 6, 7, and 8.
5 and
probably
7.
are all together.
No, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to do that at all. I want to do 5 and 7, and then 6 and 8.
Okay.
The way this is laid out. So, okay, so let's do it first. Okay, I'll take a motion to take 5 off the table, please.
No, let's take item number 5 off the table for
Motion made and
discussion.
second, take agenda item 5 off the table on the motion. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Holyoke City Council declare Clemente Street Parcel 006 as surplus property available for disposition. Property is approximately 5,300 square feet, zone DR, and has assessed value of $34,500. Gentlemen, what's going on with this?
So I'll do the brief narrative and then pass it over to John, who obviously is well versed in this and has been educating me on all this good stuff of transferring property. So this is obviously part of the South Holyoke Homes development. These are city properties that we're looking to make surplus, which is part of the process, and then convey to the Holyoke Redevelopment Authority. In turn, Holyoke Redevelopment Authority will work with the Holyoke Housing Authority to get these properties developed. We're very happy with this project, and I would assume that Councilor Murphy is also in support of this, just an assumption, since he did authorize ARPA funds to build home ownership on these lots. So we're very excited that this will be the home ownership part, Phase 1 homeownership part of the South Holyoke Homes project. Phase 1 of the rental project is already underway, groundbreaking, construction going on. So we're very excited about this area, really having an investment. And again, this is, as you know, the process of making the property surplus first, transfer it to the HRA, and then we'll transfer it to the HHA.
Okay, we're the same suspension. Attorney Degnan? Because this is a touch unusual for this committee. Attorney Degnan, we're about to take a vote to declare this parcel surplus. We do that all the time. But on the same agenda, the same department is asking us to, the same, I say, here's a problem. Here's a problem. I think we can do it, but, but Attorney Degnan, so we just recommended this body. So what's happening is that they want us to declare it surplus and then to convey it out at the same time, which by a separate vote on the same night. Is that okay to do?
I believe that it is. I just want to make sure there's no bidding issue here. But I'm quickly looking at the dollar values. So I don't see anything that would cause you not to be able to do this tonight. And as you said, the council will also have a shot at, you're referring it, you're going to give your recommendation to the council. I think it's okay to do it in the same evening.
Because that's what ultimately would happen next Tuesday. We would declare a surplus, and then we would take a vote to convey it. Now, we don't ever do that. We've never done that once. I've only chaired this committee since 2014. I invented this committee.
Yeah, you did.
I should say reinvented it. That's what I should say. I have to, well, that's true. I mean, that's undebatable. So somehow I got the rest of this crew, except for one. I had one no vote that night, but I got most of the council to go along with me. That's okay. I don't hold grudges, do I? So I will, I mean, if you say we can do it, I'd rather do it that way, because I don't want to delay this. It doesn't make any sense. So,
as I said, the only issue I would be concerned about is if it had to be bid out. But I'm looking at the values, and I don't think that they trigger a bid here. So I believe you can do it.
So you'll have a little bit of time between now and Tuesday just to verify. So if we hear back from you by next week, you can put the brakes on this for next week. That might be the right play.
Yeah.
I agree. That's good.
I don't know how they're going to vote, but I mean, I'm just assuming this goes forward. Okay? All right. All right, so,
No problem.
Council Sullivan.
Yeah, question for the attorney. So the parcel has a assessed value of $32,000. We're talking about conveying it to HRA for $1. How do we know there isn't a private developer that would be willing to pay the $32,000 if we don't put it out to bid?
For the purposes of determining whether or not the bid law would be triggered, it is permissible to use the assessed value. And I don't know of any authority that's changed that. So that's what we can use the assessed value as, hey, this is what the value is. Do we have, now, I'll go back. There's nothing saying you can't bid it out. And that's really what the bid statute's about. If the idea is, hey, let's declare this surplus, put out the bid to see how much we can get, that's certainly permissible. So I like Councilor Bartley's idea of looking at this, and, if it is a problem, we can put the brakes on down the road at council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we do have a lot of meetings, but Mr. Dijak.
I just wanted to add, there's a couple of things to consider. These were part of the urban renewal plan, which were approved for transfer as part of the entire plan for the South Holyoke development. And then secondly, this transfer is between two government entities also. So there's some, there's those considerations also.
I think those are important comments, and so we need to get a better understanding. Counselor Murphy, and then whoever else is next.
Just so I want to make sure I know all the Clemente. So we're talking about from the house to Sargent Street, these two parcels. Am I correct? We're not talking from the house towards Hamilton Street. We're going towards Sargent Street.
And
Which, as I understand it, with all the information I had, is going to be 8 new single-family homes. And with everything that's been done, and if this gets transferred, the expectation is that they could potentially be starting construction sometime next spring or early summer. So, I mean, I know all of the plans are there. This was, because it hadn't been transferred, they weren't able to go any farther at this point, but once that transfer goes, they got, as I understand it, they have everything in place, and that would be 8 single-family homes right off of Carlos Vega Park. And then I know we're still looking at the lots going towards Hamilton Street, which would eventually be potentially, I think it was three or four additional homes. That would
Councilor
be-
Murphy, these will be privately held?
Yes,
Yep.
So they'll be privately held homes,
tax paying.
just regular people paying
Yep.
taxes, just
Yep.
like the rest of us.
Yep.
Except if you want to build on Mountain Road, then we can't quite do it so fast out there, right? That's always a,
I mean, this would be an opportunity for people who, I mean, obviously they're providing some opportunities for people of lower moderate income to own a home, but it's also a chance to provide some economic diversity in South Holyoke, which is direly needed. If we're gonna have Main Street become, more viable, you gotta have people in the neighborhood that have some money to spend. And this is another opportunity, I think, to let people know that. And there's additional parcels on Southeast Street going towards Adams Street, which can, you know, as you go along, my hope is that the Housing Authority will kind of see that as maybe a combination, some of the apartments that they're doing on Southeast and Hamilton, but also some additional single-family homes with basically the same concept, that we got to have more economic diversity, providing more housing opportunities, yes, but also some economic diversity, so that you can't just put low-income people and expect that they're going to be able to generate the revenue for the businesses that are trying to establish themselves on Main Street.
Counselor Sullivan.
Yeah, so, for either of you gentlemen, so we'll be selling these houses, we'll be using ARPA funds to build them, and then the city will be selling these houses to private owners. The money will be coming into the general fund on the proceeds on the sale, or will they be going to HRA or HHA?
I believe that would be HHA.
Yeah, not HRA, but HHA, because they would own the property and then they'd be selling them. They've already submitted, they've already had their pre-app meeting with planning, so they do have a plan. There is, similar to what I guess was proposed for Beech Street there would be off-street parking behind the buildings, but yes, they'd be using the ARPA funds and additional funds, DHCD funds, to sell them, as opposed to the rentals, which they then manage. And I believe they do pay taxes on most of their property, so even the rental properties.
Counselor Sullivan, go ahead.
I would,
Hold on, this is not a round table. Counselor Sullivan has the floor.
Yeah. So I don't know, it just doesn't sound right to me that the proceeds from, we're gonna be using the ARPA money to fund this, city money, that right now stuff we have to use out of the general fund, everything else, but the money's gonna go back into an entity over which we have no control of the expenditures, yet I believe is sitting on a account somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 million and not spending any of their money. Am I missing something in this equation?
I can't comment on what I mean, they are putting money into, they've closed the gap on some of the funding, the rental project, when working with the DHCD. I guess, the the ARPA money coming from the federal government, this is a transformative development, and I think that there's a way to think about the long term of the tax revenue that will come in from those homes and the stability. You're not wrong in the equation there, but again, not having the housing authority here, I can't comment on their balances or whatnot. But I do know that they are partners with us with the South Holyoke Homes Project, with the HRA, with the city, with the mayor. But yes, it would be eventually it would be essentially their property. They would build on it, then they would sell those homes. I believe that their idea is to reinvest that money into more homes. Whether it's there in South Holyoke, obviously, or eventually as the potential of something up on Chestnut Street comes to fruition over the next couple of months or next year or so. But I can't comment on their finances.
If I can, Mr.
Well, hold on, Councilor Sullivan has the floor.
No,
You said,
Yeah,
okay,
just
Councilor Murphy.
Just to give you as much as I know about it, the ARPA funds are not paying for all of this. The ARPA funds are a portion of this. There are, I believe it was 3 or 4 different funding sources that left them still short and unable to move the process, that they were looking at another year before they were going to be able to do anything, number one. Number two, it is my understanding that as those private properties get sold, that some of that money is going to be used to continue the housing development on Southeast Street, both on the north side of Sargent Street and on the south side of Sargent Street going towards Adams Street. And this is something I began discussing, and I know it's something you've also asked when I was sitting over there. I did begin discussion to try to get some input on a pilot tax program, which I know you've been advocating for, and I think that is worthy of discussion. I do know they do pay on some of the properties, and it was a lot more confusing than I wished it were, because I thought it was just going to be an outright, let's do this, but then they started showing me, well, we pay on this and we don't pay on this, and so the process was started. I don't know if that's going to continue, but it's something that we were trying to make sure that they weren't not paying their fair share. But these funds and this goal really would be basically changing South Holyoke from an area that has had very little development to an area that can be significantly developed, and again, providing economic diversity, as well as potentially somewhere in the vicinity of 80 to 100 new housing facilities.
Okay, understood.
Well, we'll talk about pilot at some point, but any other counselors want to address us on this? Just so we're clear, I'm sure Councilor Murphy knows this, that Holyoke Housing Authority in FY19 paid a pilot of total pilot $3,287. So that's grand total citywide. So I don't know what project you're referring to, but that's the entire pilot that entity paid. What Councilor Sullivan was referring to, I think, is something I brought up several times, where in their meeting minutes, they had enough liquidity on their balance sheet to transfer $500,000 to the Mass Municipal Depository Trust to do what? To collect more interest than they could collect at the local bank. That's all that does. Collect interest. That's what they do. That's why I might have been a little bit out of line, but I was upset with all the funding, not just the ARPA funding, but also the various other fundings for basketball courts and all that we've remitted as a city. Now, these are all important entities, but we've remitted a lot of money. And what I'm hearing from Councilor Sullivan, the point he made, and I'll stand corrected, is that, again, public funds are being passed through to the authority, will serve as developer, sell the properties, retain the proceeds. What they do with the proceeds will be a vote of the 5-person board. 4 of those members are mayoral appointees. 1 of the members is a gubernatorial appointee. That's how that works. But there are several millions of dollars on its balance sheet, and yet they pay south of $4,000 as of FY19 for pilot. Now, is that reasonable? You tell me. And I'm only directing at you because you brought up the word pilot. But this is to everybody. This is public record. Now, do what you want. I'm saying I think we could do a little bit better. But we'll let the mayor do that. Terry, you did a great job as mayor. Don't think for a second I didn't respect you. I said it to you more than once. Okay. All right, what else? Anything else?
Nope, just
Okay.
the last.
Okay. We have before us a very simple motion to declare this surplus. Hearing
Make
no
a mo-
further discussion, and, well, I guess do we have a motion? I don't think
We didn't motion, no, we
Well,
didn't.
we'll make,
Make a motion to declare
motions made and
Norte
second to
Street,
declare,
Parcel 6 surplus property available for disposition.
motion made and second to declare the aforesaid parcel surplus. On discussion, hearing none on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Let's suspend rules, take agenda item number
Seven.
seven up. Thank you, Pete.
Motion to
Seven off the
suspend,
table.
take item 7 off the board.
Motion made and second to remove agenda item number 7 off the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, same parcel. This is great wording, approved, amended. Okay, Clemente Street parcel 006 to HRA for consideration of $1. Again, the parcel is 5314 square feet, zone DR, assessed value of 34.5. Gentlemen, I think we talked about it, but do you want to add anything else?
I think it's just important
Mr.
to
Dijak.
point out that there are parcels on either side of parcel 6 that we're talking about and parcel 7 that are part of this development. The parcel 5 on the northern end was similar to these declared surplus and approved for transfer back in 2014, and parcel 8, which is on the corner of Sargent and Clemente, was acquired privately by the Redevelopment Authority for the South Holyoke project a few years ago. So it's just important to point out, these two parcels are part of a larger tract of land.
Yeah, and that's why I think what you're saying is it makes sense to have the same entity be the owner of the track, right? I mean, it kind of adds up to me, but we'll see. All right, any other discussion about conveying it to Council Sullivan?
Yeah, once again, can somebody tell me where the price of $1 comes up then, when they're going to be receiving the proceeds on the sale from this property as well? That they're not having to put a dime or very little money into?
Just being our one city, that, I mean, I don't think that we're looking for the HRA to, the Redevelopment Authority, to pay the city more. I mean, I guess this is past, we're just going with past practices. I guess we could, that's something I guess that could be considered, but I mean, we're part of the city.
I'm just trying to get that out there, that just because it's been a past practice, we're finally looking in depth here, seeing the largest landlord in the city, probably the largest property owner in the city, that only pays less than $4,000 in a pilot, is now going to get a piece of property for $1, on which, as a whole package, they'll be putting over $1 million into their coffers. That's my point.
No, point well taken. I mean, I think that this is I mean, again, often when you transfer a property to the HRA, we do put it out to bid, and we do get, obviously, as you know, 123 Pine Street, we just got a new bid on, and that's getting developed. So that's private, and no additional funds, city funds going to that. So often the HRA does work on private developments as well. We. Obviously, it was a city procurement process with Taub, but we played a hand in that and tried to move that through. I know we've talked about some other properties that we're trying to move along. I guess there's the city entity, but I guess it's understood to us. We've been told that there's in addition to funding, that there is some borrowing going on that the HHA is doing. I don't know why they would be doing that if they have balance sheets. I can't speak to their finances, but.
Yeah, just so we're clear, I can only speak to the finances so far as I read all the meeting minutes. And their meeting minutes are pretty clear, and plus their financials are public records. So I procured them over the course of time. And I think what I'm hearing Councilor Sullivan saying, again, just correct me if I'm wrong, is that maybe this is just for Attorney Degnan to hear, but maybe it's a question where is there some sort of a mechanism by which the city can, since we're all one entity, as we just heard, can the city share in some kind of the proceeds, if you will? I don't know. I mean, that would be a really complicated legal mess right there. I'm not even suggesting it, other than just to say it out loud. If that ever made sense to any of your brothers and sisters in municipal law, but no, that would be that would be a tough one to unwind. Councilor Graney.
Since we're one big happy family, shouldn't we be able to tap into each other's resources?
Well, it's funny you say that, Councilor Graney, but there are invisible walls, and they're just impenetrable. So, at times.
I know that.
Okay. So we have before us the question mark of $1. Any other discussion? I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve the sale of
Motion made
006
to
for
recommend.
$1 to the
motion made and
HRA.
Seconded to recommend approval of the sale to HRA
HRA.
for $1. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nope.
Okay, 4-1 on that one. 4-1 on that one. Okay, now let's go take care of 6 and 8. Motion. I'll take a motion to take 6 off the table.
Motion to take item 6 off the table for
Motion made and
discussion.
second to remove agenda item 6 off the table. On the motion, all in favor? Aye. Okey dokes. The city council, in accordance to 30B, declare Clemente Street parcel 007 as surplus, available for disposition. Parcel is approximately 5,532 square feet in size. Zone DR has a assessed value of 34,500. Gentlemen.
I guess same. I don't know. There's not much. Same project, same process, same concerns. I'm not sure if there's more to add. As John mentioned, it's part of the other. It puts these 4 projects, these 4 parcels together for the project.
Gotcha. Is there any other discussion or question marks from councilors? Hearing none. On the motion to declare the aforesaid parcel, I'll take a motion.
Motion to declare Assessor map 28, block 4, parcel 007 as surplus property available for disposition.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to declare the aforesaid parcel surplus. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay. That passes.
Motion to take item number 8 off the table.
Motion's made and seconded to remove
Discussion.
agenda item 8 off the table. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ordered that the city council, in accord with, which was approved by, as amended, vote to approve the transfer of Clemente Street, parcel 007, to the HRA for consideration of $1. I think we had the same discussion a minute ago. Gentlemen, you're okay with what you said before? Okay. All right, so this is the same. This is the same thing, same area, all part of the same development, which I think most of us agree. It's all of us agree. It's a good thing. But the process itself probably, I don't know. Maybe it could use some work. Terry, this will be a nice thing for the ward, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And ultimately, this once we get these done, we're moving forward, Terry, with the development of 8 single-family homes?
Yes.
Okay.
8 single-family homes there. If you come towards Hamilton Street, 4 single-family homes on the north side towards Hamilton Street. Then across the park on Southeast Street, at Southeast and the northerly side from Sargent, I believe we're talking 4 or 5 more single-family homes there. Then we're talking potentially on the south side, some kind of apartment complex, somewhat similar to the 12 units that you're building on Hamilton and Southeast now. And then again, I would encourage that the next lots that they go back to consider single-family homes again, so that they continue to try to provide some both diversity in housing options, but also economic diversity.
Okay. And then just remind me, what were these are single-family homes for private ownership, and by my count, you had at least 16. should this all come together. And I think I heard something earlier, maybe from Aaron or Johnny, relative to rental units, and those are under construction. Did one of you say that?
Yeah, there's 12 units under construction right now.
On what street?
On Southeast Street at the corner of Hamilton. There are 4 buildings, 3 stories each, 3 apartments each building. If I'm not mistaken, there are a handicap unit in each building, I believe. Parking is going to be in the alley, so it won't be on-street parking. They'll have 1 parking spot per apartment, and they are under construction. I know they had some problems because the buildings that used to be there, the bricks were still, and the construction was still down, pretty far down. You would understand that, Councilor Sullivan, but as I understand it, they are now starting to move on that. And so there's, this could be in the next 3 to 4 years, there has a very strong potential that there could be another 80 housing units.
So the question
in that area, South Holyoke.
Now, that's my question for right now, Terry, to you, is with the gas moratorium, what are we using to heat these buildings? Is it what?
As I understand it from the apartments, they are electric and clean energy.
Electric?
Yep.
And the single-family homes will be electric?
Same thing.
Okay.
I believe HG&E's they've been discussed with HG&E,
Yeah.
and the electric heat pumps and all that. Yep.
Electric heat pumps?
Yep.
Okay, well, that's good.
And they also have parking in the alley for the single-family homes too. So most of the parking, they are providing off-street parking,
Off-street parking, yeah, that's wonderful.
which will help with snow removal.
So even for our partners in government, we're keeping the moratorium on them, so.
Yeah, right, well, yeah, not much we can
Yeah, stuck.
do or say about that at this juncture, but
But it definitely
Time will tell.
could change the perspective in South Holyoke significantly. And one of the things I've said, and I've heard it from many people, it gives them a sense that it's coming back as opposed to falling down, and that the city's investing to rebuild a neighborhood rather than just let it go. So I've heard that on a variety of occasions. And I know there was a crowd down there for the apartment breaking in or whatever, was ribbon cutting, although I don't think there was a ribbon. And there were, I would say, a good 100 people there, many of them from the neighborhood, just happy to see things happening. So,
yeah, great, that's great
In
news.
fact, I just one last thing too is talking about being good financial fiduciary responsibility when we get public dollars. This is all being built upon, before I came into this office, the MassWorks grant that I believe Sarah Miller-Zimbler, who's now with the HHA, worked on through OPED to improve that whole area for infrastructure, and to do that first in order to allow for these homes to be built. And so we are being responsible with that money that we've gotten from the state through MassDOT for that massive project down there that we see lots of construction. It's going to continue in the spring. So all the infrastructure down there being repaired in order to have this happen. So, it would be a waste of money if we did all that infrastructure and then didn't come to fruition with the housing. So we are trying to build upon what's been invested down there already.
Okay, that's good news. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, I guess I'll take a motion then.
Make a motion to approve the sale of lot 007 Clementi Street to the HRA for the consideration of $1.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. On the motion to sell for $1 to HRA parcel 007. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nope.
4-1. 4-1, that one. Gentlemen, 9 and 10, what is our pleasure?
I think you take them up in the packet.
We were excited to get proposals for these properties. Both 277 and 285 Main Street are very small lots adjacent to apartment buildings, and we always thought the best use would be for sale to an abutter for green space, possibly off-street parking or some amenity for the tenants of those buildings. So there was offers received from an entity called Next Level Realty, who is the owner of those apartments, and
Well, let's do it this way. I know we're going to get that deep. So I'll take a motion to suspend and take 9 and 10 off the table, please.
Suspend the rules, take items 9 and 10.
Motion made and seconded to suspend and take as a package agenda items 9 and 10. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, let's just read this. 9, City Council, accept proposal and sell 277 Main for $5,000 to Next Realty, Inc. It is a vacant lot of 2745 square feet. Agenda item 10, City Council, vote to accept the proposal and sell 285 Main Street for $5,000 to Next Realty, Inc. 285 is a vacant lot of approximately 2,744 square feet in size. Gentlemen, where are we? I heard what you said. So we've got,
The suggestion is to give these a leave to withdraw because the proponent has been unresponsive.
okay. Now, if we accept that suggestion, what then?
We'll probably, so we're building a queue of re-putting properties back off RFPs, and so we've got, in working with purchasing office, we're doing about, and with the law department, we're about, the capacity of about 4 a month, 3 to 4 months, so we're building our queue. We already have the ones we want to do this month, so we would put them back out, hopefully, again, the abutters, maybe he'll be responsive. Lori Belanger, again, did a lot of, they sent in the proposal and then didn't follow up. And it was pretty frustrating, and we were a little bit surprised, since they are the abutters. And so Lori, did all she could to reach out to them and.
Can I ask you this? Because this is almost like a Counselor Sullivan type question, but when they send in the proposal, now, maybe Attorney Degnan can answer as well. Can you make them send in like $100 non-refundable deposit?
I don't know.
We can.
Well, I'm just saying, and then if it goes through, it's applied towards the
applied to
price.
the purchase.
Right, it's not like a,
And most, excuse me, Counselor, most RFPs include a deposit with their proposal that's applied to the sale price, and in some cases, it's non-refundable. In this case, because it was a very small property, it was done through what's called a smaller version of RFP, where there was no deposit required.
well, it's just a thought. I mean, I'm not going to file anything, but it's
Most
just,
all RFPs have a requirement for a deposit.
but, right, okay, so my thought would be, it'd be non-refundable if they don't, you don't have to be kept, spelled out in the contract or in the RFP, but if this firm, which, maybe they're going through some troubles, who knows? We don't want to steal anybody's money, obviously, that's ridiculous, but $100, they'll feel a little bite for putting you through all these hoops and all that. And all we're saying is that if you go through, it just goes right towards the purchase price anyhow, so if you fool around like this for whatever the period of time is, you lose your $100. Oh, well.
Yep.
So it doesn't kill them. That's just a thought, whatever. Councilor Green.
Just quickly, what is the time period of these two parcels? How long has it been?
Oh,
It was submitted back in June, so it's been several months. It
So
was,
we've been
half a
sitting on
year.
these properties for 2 or 3 months.
And prior to that, if some councilors may remember, there was a Crown Cleaners at this location that the city had to demolish. They're very small lots, and we actually had put this out for bids a few years ago, and there were some offers, but they were from what I would call speculators that just wanted to buy a property, and it just makes the most sense for an abutter to take ownership because they're not buildable, and they're only really usable for the people next door, and that's why when these offers came in from this owner, it was promising, and it was disappointing that they weren't responsive after that.
Is anybody using these properties at all now? Is there parking on them or anything?
Nowhere.
What do we spend on demo?
That I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. All right.
Is that the property next to the social club?
Hi, yes, yep,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. They're one abutter.
I know the owner, he had approached me because he was interested in the
Yeah.
homes. Yeah.
And there was another apartment building that was sold not recently, within the last few years to this Next Level group that really put forward a promising proposal, and it was, and they just were unresponsive after.
So I mean, we would definitely
put
put
it
it back out at some point as we go through our process, as we put more properties out. I mean, we're trying to be, the smaller ones like this that are good for abutters are easier, but we're trying to be mindful and purposeful about which ones we're putting out. Other developments, obviously, Beech Street was one, 123 Pine Street. We've got, perhaps some ones on Elm Street and others. So we're really trying to focus on where our city properties are that we can sort of get out there.
Councilor Murphy.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Yeah, I remember when we talked about this, and you know, there were some, you know, they were looking at doing some things here, and I almost somewhat remember they were talking about demolishing the other building and potentially creating and building a new apartment building there. So that was, you know, that was pretty exciting. But then things just kept falling apart as it went along. But so one other question or one other thought here is, as I understand it, and I'm pretty sure the zoning there is restrictive in terms of being able to develop those lots as it was on Main Street between Sargent and Hamilton on the west side, that we ended up changing the zone last year, which provided, and we got that guy that just bought that building that he's putting his business in there and fixing up the apartments. But I think they were under the same restrictions down there. So someone getting those lots right now would be very restrictive in terms of having a frontage, a rear, sides, and everything else. So owning the property would create, without a zone change, would at least give them an opportunity not to have to worry about the sides if they are to develop. But that might be a property to consider looking at for a zone change to make it where somebody could come and develop it. And that is also an area where, you know, we've had significant problem behind in Lasse, in the alley, and there are people that I see frequently going into those lots and going into the back alley, which is right behind in Lasse. And so if we could get those developed, that certainly would enhance the potential of making the quality of life much better for the people down there, and certainly in the alleys, hopefully clean up some of the things going on there. So. But I know we talked about it in June, and it looked like a good thing, but, you know, I think right now they haven't responded, so, I mean, let's go out and see if we can get someone else.
Okay. Any other discussion? I guess we'll take a motion to give these two leave to withdraw, I guess. All right.
Motion, give items, is that 10 and?
9 and 10.
9 and 10, leave to withdraw.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to give leave to withdraw agenda items 9 and 10. On the motion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, we have come to what I believe is the conclusion. I'm just going to have a quick note of a point of personal privilege. I've chaired this committee since 2014. I believe this will be the last time I chair this committee. I just want to thank everybody for their patience and gratitude and their kindness with me over the years, and their participation and the good work of everybody, present company more obviously included, but also the former members of the committee. So it's been a real honor chairing this. I've had a lot of fun with it, and so thank you so much to everybody. Okay, and to the committee, really appreciate all your hard work, because I think we pretty much met every single month. And I think this committee's met every single month, barring few exceptions, since, 2014, 2015, when I took over chair. But I believe this is it for me. This is my swan song. So thank you so much, everybody, okay? So
How about item number 12? How about our next meeting?
no.
In December? No? Okay.
No, I'm not sure. No, there's nothing else in December. Counselor Sullivan.
Well, since you got in your swan song,
Yeah, go ahead.
this will be my final DGNR meeting also.
Yes.
6 years I've had the honor of working with you on this. It's been a privilege, and I've enjoyed my time here.
Thanks.
Well, I may as well throw my hat in the ring.
Might as well, I don't.
I'll throw my hat out of the ring. It's been a pleasure, so
Thanks.
thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Here,
Okay.
I'm gonna do my song and dance.
Yep.
Well, yeah, thank you, Gladys. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Chair Bartley, it's been a pleasure working with you on different items. I know sometimes we may have disagreed on how we get things done, but you move things along. We've had a great discussions here in the past 6-7 years, especially bringing in different governmental people in different areas to better understand city government and different agencies within the community. I think it's been very helpful to everybody here, not just the committee members, but also the public.
Just one quick comment. With all due respect, the preparedness of this committee has been exemplary for the 2 years that I've served on here, and thanks to Chairman Bartley for that. I think we've accomplished a lot, and this committee has been well prepared for every meeting that we've attended.
Okay, team effort. One last motion will do it.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn, motion made and seconded, non-debatable. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good evening.